VPN private key and certificate generation. Client-to-site VPN keys and certificates can be managed via VPN connection key generation. To establish the tunnel on the public network between VPN server and clients, there are different keys and certificates for each identify on the network: CA generation, certificate, and key for server, certificates and keys for clients, and client configuration listing. The following 5 items are the information to be used as part of all the keys and certificates: country code, state code, locality, org name, org unit, email combining with common name that will be asked to input for each, and other random generated messages, certificates, and keys will be produced. So, you have to use different common name in each box on the screen to differentiate them. CA is the abbreviation for Certificate Authority. Basically, server and clients have knowledge on their CA so that the connection is allowed to be established. There are several fields that you need to fill in while generating CA in order to generate unique CA that is different from others. The common name on each client, server, and CA shall also be unique. Keys and certificates will be generated after the correct data is supplied. On the listing of client configuration sets, the common names will also be listed there. If common names are not shown there in client configuration set list, it means the common name could be duplicated, and although the duplicated one was deleted, it is still not safe to let the clients use the common name like that. In this case, you might as well just clean up everything by pressing purge button to regenerate CA, server key and certificate, and client keys and certificates from scratch. One of the reasons to do this is, once a set of client setting is distributed, removal of the configuration file set of that client will block it to access VPN server. If you want to have tight control, you might consider to regenerate all the keys and certificates on the server and ask users to update their certificates after those certificates are regenerated. The whole idea here is that we are going to prepare a set of files for the VPN client program for those users who would like to access Office network when they are not in the office. Once they have this set of files and VPN client program, they can establish the connection with the VPN server located in the office. The validity of certificates and keys is being set for 10 years, 3,650 days, by default. It means it expires after 10 years. However, if you change the keys and certificates, the keys and certificate issued previously are automatically nullified. Valid days of VPN client certificate. How to set valid days of VPN client certificate? You can check VPN connection key generation. The usage of client certificate can be done by setting the valid days. And the expiration date will be shown on the display box of certificates. The user cannot use that certificate to establish VPN connection after expiration date. Certificate files for clients to download. Client-to-site VPN key and certificate can be downloaded via VPN connection client file download. Once the configuration of CA, server, and client, S, is done, a set of files for each client will be generated. Each client needs a set of this kind of configuration files in order to connect to the VPN server. Please notice that the configuration file also contains the public IP address of the firewall, the IP address of Internet Interface Eth0. Thus, you only can wait the other setting of network is stable before you configure and generate VPN-related files. Button per user key download means to download VPN client configuration files. Client program download means to download all VPN client package on Windows. You can also download the client configuration parameters and key in a single file. It is called unified form by putting configuration parameters and keys in a single file. Some VPN client programs like OpenVPN Connect, on mobile devices for Apple's iPhone or Google's Android platform, or TunnelBlick, on Mac OS, take this kind of files. We have other ways for the users to get key/certificate in an integrated manner. That will be introduced in other sections. Example, how to use VPN client software on Windows PC. The example here is performed on Windows XP. For Windows 7/Windows 8/Windows 10/Windows 11, you need to use administrator privilege to install and launch VPN client software. Using the client program OpenVPN Connect could be easier. Here we only introduce the usage of the primitive client program. Once the VPN server is ready, the admin folk need to distribute a set of files, configuration management, key, certificate, VPN client software, to the people who need to use VPN. Take the following screen snapshot as an example. There are 2 sets of VPN clients, Client 1, with common name Secretary, and Client 2, with common name Engineer. And you move to Client File Download screen to prepare to download files. To download VPN client software, you press button Client Program Download. It will display a file download screen. Just press per user key download to save the file into a folder you can remember. Later on, we are going to install the VPN client program from there. And then, we double-click the icon to start the installation process. It prompts the setup menu and asks where you are going to install the software. In this example, we just install the software at c:\OpenVPN. Do not be scared. Just press continue anyway to finish the installation. Up to this moment, We have VPN client installed at the place /open VPN on Windows system. Now let's go back to that client file download page to download the key and certificate. This is the machine to be used by sales, thus, we put the set client 1 with common name sales on this machine. Select client 1 and press start. Press save and save it in /open VPN/bin. /open VPN is the directory you installed the VPN client program. Under that directory, there is subdirectory bin. Just save the zip file there. It will be easier for you to continue the following steps. Go to the folder /open VPN/bin, and decompress the file client1.zip in that directory. Zip file can be decompressed from Windows Utility or any other programs. After decompressing file, you will find 4 more files are in that directory. They are certificate of CA, key file of client 1, certificate file of client 1, and configuration file for you to connect back to VPN server. To start the VPN connect, you can start Windows command prompt window. Type cmd at start-run under Windows to launch that command Windows. And use cd/open VPN/bin to switch your working directory to c/open VPN/bin. In that directory, we start VPN client program by reading the configuration file client1.open by typing the command c:/open client1.open. After the command open client1.open is issued by hitting enter key, it starts the negotiation process to establish the connection. Check if you can find any word like succeed or initialization sequence completed. Type IP protocol configuration in Windows command prompt, you will find out there is one more Ethernet interface shown. It is the virtual Ethernet interface created by VPN client software. And it is with IP address belonging to VPN. You can do ping 172.16.38.1, the IP address of VPN server on this virtual network, and it gets response packets. This proves that the connection is established from the mobile PC to VPN server in the office. To close the VPN connect, you just double-click the left top icon on the Windows command prompt. You only need to install the VPN client program once. But you might have to update the set of files for key, certificates, and configuration file in the future. It just depends on how often your VPN server admin wants to update those settings. Every time you want to launch VPN connection, you just go to the directory /open VPN/bin and issue the command /open VPN/bin open client configuration file. In this case, client configuration file is client1.open. If you want to look more into the configuration file, you will find out it looks as follows: client dev ton proto UDP remote 62.168.19.185 1194 resolve retry infinite no bind persist ton cacrt cert client1.crt key client1.key compilso verb 3. The field remote 62.168.19.185 1194 means the VPN server is with public IP address 62.168.19.185 UDP port 1194. Please notice that this is used to establish the tunnel in the public network. Usually, you do not need to touch this file at all. But if you do not follow our suggestion to deploy VPN server on the same machine where the firewall resides, you have to manually modify the IP address that fit your setting. Only when VPN server is installed on the firewall between your private network and internet, the correct configuration file will be generated. But those scenarios would make your network very complicated because you have to fix routing tables in a lot of places. Example, another simple method to launch VPN client on Windows PC. There is another easy way for you to launch VPN client on Windows. You can just find the configuration file and using the right mouse button to click it as follows. A submenu will show up. You can just select Start Open VPN on this config file. Then, the process will be started. After you find the words like succeed and initialization sequence completed, you can minimize it and start other application to connect the server, inside your office. How to launch VPN client on Windows Vista PC. The VPN client program will take the setting pushed from the VPN server and change the routing table on the client. Modifying routing table on Windows Station needs administrator privileges. In other words, you need to run VPN client program by using the user account that is with administrator privileges. On Windows XP, it can be done by assigning that user into administrator group. However, on Windows Vista, the same scheme does not work. Microsoft changes the user account privilege on Windows Vista that the account in administrator group does not imply it can perform the same job as real administrator. On Windows Vista, the administrator account is hidden by default. The login screen does not display that administrator icon for you to use if you did not change the setting on your Vista PC. Along with the VPN key provided from the VPN server along with the old release of Azblink system, a directory Vista can be found to enable administrator account. Inside that directory, you can find two batch files, Admin enable, admin disable. The two scripts are for the usage on Windows Vista to turn on or turn off the administrator icons on the login page. To use admin enable, you need to launch it by using right mouse button to click and focus the file and run it as administrator from the menu there. After that, log out from the Windows Vista. You will find out administrator icon shown on the login screen. The Vista directory was removed on the recent release of the Azblink software. You should log in by using administrator account and Launch VPN program under that account. On Windows 10 11th, you can just install OpenVPN Connect. The usage is quite straightforward, so that we will not introduce it in this document.